What do we basically know now about Stephen Paddock, the shooter in Las Vegas? So far, all I've got is that he was a 64-year-old white male. That's better. He was a 64-year-old white male who was a retiree. At one point, he worked for Lockheed Martin. He styled himself to be a professional gambler. He had a 62-year-old girlfriend named Mary Lou. I cannot remember her last name. He had a 62-year-old girlfriend of Asian descent. And it seems like he was happy. So why in the world did he go on some kind of shooting spree? Something else you may not know is that his father was on the FBI's most wanted list. Let me see if I can find his father's name. Let's see. His father, Benjamin Hoskins Paddock, was on the FBI's most wanted list at one point, and his father was diagnosed as a psychopath. So, the only thing I can think of is that if, from what I've read, and I'm not a psychiatrist, so this is just purely my opinion and my guesses. If his father is a psychopath, if there's a genetic component to psychopathy, then it's possible that his father may have passed on the psychopathic trait to the son. That's the best I could come up with in that standpoint. So if his father passed on the psychopath trait to his son, then his son could have been a psychopath. And I've done a lot of reading on psychopaths, but I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But from what I've read, it does seem like a psychopath could just go along functioning normally, doing all this type of stuff of leading a normal life, and do something very heinous and feel no guilt about it at all, not care. But again, nobody has really said that Stephen Paddock was a psychopath. If you look at the interviews with his brother is saying, man, we had no idea he was going to do this. You know, this is news to us. We're just as shocked as the rest of you are because we had no inkling that he would do this. His girlfriend, Mary Lou, wasn't even in the country. She had went back to see her family in the Philippines. So this thing came completely out of the blue. So I should have really not done this live, but done it with me and the blue geese saying, this is why I train in martial arts. This is why I train in martial arts, because I know that there are people in the world that you never suspect that could just up jump and do something violent. Now, do I think a roundhouse kick would have been able to stop his machine gunning? Probably not. But somebody with fighting spirit probably would have been able to fight him off. Now, you see, he did not pull this type of thing at a combat sport event where you're going to meet probably there'll be a bunch of martial artists in the crowd. I mean, you know, he didn't go to a boxing match or a karate tournament or anything like that. Not that I'm inviting anyone to do anything like that. But he went to a country music concert where a bunch of people are there to enjoy themselves to pull a stunt like this. So, this is my thing. Now, every concert I've ever been to, there's been security. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how in the world he got past security. But I know how, because he broke the window out of a hotel room that was overlooking where they were, and he shot out at the crowd. So I guess that's how he got around the whole security thing. But still, this man was able to fool, it looks like, practically everyone he knew. I read one story where there was one neighbor who thought he was odd, but because he was introverted, but that's not enough to suspect somebody is going to go on some type of mass murdering killing spree where he kills 50 people and wounds, what is it, as many as 500 others? So there's no way that you could see something like this or stop something like this. Okay? I think he may have been going through a divorce, but most people go through a divorce and they don't shoot up the place. So I got two angles, one in science and one not. Okay, and this is strictly my opinion, so feel free to think me a lunatic. First, I'm thinking if he's a psychopath, he could have inherited the psychopathic gene from his father because his father was wanted by the FBI and was diagnosed as a psychopath. And number two, just like I said about Dylan Roof, I think the man was possessed. I think he was possessed. Call me superstitious. I think he was possessed by some kind of demon that made him do it, and then he shoots himself in the head. I'm more inclined to believe that. So King So Simple is laughing out loud. I'm more inclined to believe that than any type of MK Ultra or remote mind control type thing or low frequency type thing. I'm thinking maybe he was possessed. That's what I think. When something happens that's totally random and they have no explanation for it at all, they can't find a medical or psychological reason for it, that's when I say possessed. Because it's just like, here's a little fact you may not know about exorcisms. Over 90% of exorcisms can be explained by psychological problems. I think it's 90%, or it's at least 90% the last time I read that. Small percentage, I think it is 1%, that the church, the Catholic Church, cannot explain. So if it can't be explained by medicine, and we're pretty far along medically, unless there's a new species of virus or bacteria that's affecting the brain, which is possible, I'm inclined to go the demonic possession route. So I think dude was possessed. And I lost 2 viewers after I said that, but that's fine. But anyway, so those of us who are martial artists, King So Simple says demonic possession is real, very real. See? So I agree. So where is that going to leave us as martial artists? This is not something that we could really do or handle or prevent because this guy gave off no warning signs. From what I've read, wow. Well, you know what, King So Simple? He said he's seen demonic possession with his own eyes. Please do a video about that. You will get at least 1 view from me. That's for sure. Maybe 2 for me and my son. Maybe 3. My wife, too, would probably want to see that. So please make a video about that. But as martial artists, there's not really anything we can do if we're being deceived by the psychopath. And the thing is, this guy's so slick. Even if your intuition was telling you that something was wrong or your spirit told you something was wrong, you can't stop somebody from doing something like this until they've actually done it. So, wow, he said an imam came, King So Simple said, an imam came to his house and removed the jinn from him. It was scary. I bet you it was scary. So I want to see how this plays out. I said this about a recent shooting before. I want to see how it plays out. I want to see the explanation that they give because there were no terrorist ties. He didn't fit the typical profile of a mass shooter. It doesn't look like there was any indication of financial problems, even though he was going through a divorce. If you see the first picture they put out there of him with Mary Lou, dude look happy to me. So I can't blame it on heartbreak. The only thing I can blame it on is either psychopathy and or demonic possession. King So Simple says, in the gym, jinn give you superhuman powers. They need one person to hold down each limb. Yeah, I've seen that happen with drugs too. Because our strength is limited by what we think we can do. So when you remove that barrier, there are a lot of things we can do that we don't realize we can do. So I'm wrapping up this video. Thank you for taking your time out to watch it. And like, comment, subscribe, watch the rest of the videos. And if you have any experience with demonic possession, put a link to it below this video so I can check it out and some other viewers can check it out too. Thank you. God bless you and peace.